Good morning, everyone. My name is Bhalekar. I'm a Vice President and Junior Partner at McKinsey, based in Singapore. I'm very excited to speak with you today about how digital technologies are being used to enhance the productivity of the construction industry. To quickly introduce myself before I get into the presentation, I've been a consultant for 6 years, and prior to that, most of my career, I've actually been a digital product manager. For instance, I was part of the core team that designed and launched Android globally. And I've also been involved with technology startups as an investor, as a mentor, and as a founder in Singapore, in India, and in Silicon Valley. So very excited to talk to you on this topic of digitalization of construction. I will walk you through 92 slides in about 20 minutes. Okay, I am joking. I only have about 18 or 19 slides, but it's a lot of very exciting content. So let's get started. Today, we will talk about 3 topics. First, we will look into the current state of construction and construction productivity and the challenges associated with that. This will illustrate the need for digital disruption in this space. Then we'll take a look at the digital landscape, who the key players are, and how the ecosystem is evolving and helping this digital transformation. Last but not the least, we'll talk about what this specifically means for you. What are the steps that you can and you should take to digitally enhance your projects and their relevant productivity? So let's jump straight into the first topic. Construction used to be the most meaningful industry in history. It has been one that humanity has built magnificent monuments out of, and lasting structures have been developed by the construction industry. Even today, 13% of the global GDP at roughly $9.5 trillion comes from construction. But the productivity growth of construction has not kept up with other industries. If you look at the chart, productivity as defined as value added per hour worked in that specific industry is at amazing growth as seen in manufacturing. Even if you look at overall economy that includes a bunch of different industries, we'll see that construction is lagging. We were at the same point as manufacturing about 25, 30 years back, but since the gap has widened year over year over year. And this is really why we feel digital is primed to disrupt this industry. Before we go there, let's take a look at what this actually means in dollars and cents that are lost. Now, this chart will show you that the lagging productivity of construction projects costs the global economy $1.6 trillion every single year. This is pure economic value lost. Now, a bunch of that comes from North America and Europe. But even in our region, this is $440 billion a year lost in APAC alone. So the question is, what can we do about it? Now, we think that there are several levers that can be used to address the problem of lagging construction productivity. Regulation, obviously, is a key enabler. And beyond regulation, collaboration and contracting, design and engineering optimization, procurement and supply chain management, on-site execution, and capability building all play a significant role, but the impact of all of these levers is mostly in the single-digit percentages. We think that digital technology is the most impactful of all levers, and it can be used to improve productivity in capital projects by up to 15%. This one lever is alone capable of improvement of 15%. So quite meaningful. So let's look at the digital landscape. how exactly does this manifest? Over the next few slides, we will take a closer look at the digital landscape and, more importantly, how it has evolved over a period of time, and also some of the key technologies that we are most excited about. So let's jump right into it. A couple of years back, McKinsey mapped the digital landscape for construction, uncovering 3 distinct clusters of innovation. To do this, we spoke to roughly 1,000 companies that were involved in construction projects. We discovered that the first innovation cluster is the on-site cluster, and this comprises of safety, equipment management, quality control, materials management, etc. The second cluster is the back office cluster. This is your construction back office, obviously, but also ops management, scheduling, and pre-construction. And the last innovation cluster was that of collaboration, which included document management, decision management, contracting, and performance management. The thickness of the lines between the modules corresponds to solutions that span more than one specific area. So overall, in 2017, we saw roughly $9 billion of investment in this space. So it was pretty strong and we were pretty excited. We did the same survey the following year. 1 year later, the digital ecosystem looks dramatically different and has a lot of very exciting movement. We spoke to about 2,400 firms this time across the entire project lifecycle, not limited only to construction. And what we noticed is that there are now constellations of innovation within the clusters of innovation. Now, the clusters of innovation are indicated in the 3 different shades of blue on this page. And we saw that there is a lot of innovation happening across the board, and hence the constellations. The thickness of the lines between the modules corresponds to solutions that address more than one use case. So in addition to this exciting development of constellations, we saw that the investment had also doubled from $9 billion to $18 billion. So significant movement over there. We were also able to classify these constellations of digital solutions into 5 distinct categories. The first is the Internet of Things. The second is digital twins. The third is 3D printing and robotics. The fourth is AI and analytics. And the fifth is supply chain optimization. Now, I'll do a deep dive on 3 or 4 of these subsequently because these are the ones that we are most excited about. But before we go there, a quick picture on how investment has also doubled over the last 5 years. So if you look at the chart, you'll see that the investment in the period from 2013 to 2018 has doubled as compared to the same duration from 2008 to 2012. And also the number of transactions have more than tripled across different types. So from 246 in the preceding 5 years to over 900 in the last 5 years. And a large chunk of these transactions in terms of dollars are centered in the M&A space. And obviously you see a smattering of them across the spectrum. So what digital tech is driving these investments? Let's look at that. So we are primarily excited in 3 distinct categories of technologies for construction. Let's look at them one at a time. The first is artificial intelligence. Now, AI can revolutionize the way we approach construction projects. When it comes to refining quality control and claims management, neural networks can help owners and firms alike understand the likelihood that a contractor or a subcontractor will file a claim. And this enables the owners and the firms to proactively allocate contingencies and deploy targeted mitigation plans. This is super important. AI is also used to boost project monitoring and risk management. These applications would dramatically reduce decision-making cycles in a construction project, roughly from a monthly basis to now a daily basis. And this is done through full automation of the project scheduling and budgeting, and updates based on combination of BIM data, AI data, drone data, and other laser capabilities. AI is also being used for constant design optimization. These applications can recommend to engineers and architects the use of specific design, such as a structural solution based on various criteria, including the total cost of ownership, execution timeline, and the likelihood of construction mistakes that are possible during the execution phase. Lastly, AI is building commercial excellence, and it delivers a competitive edge. Supervised and unsupervised learning projects can really boost an ENC firm's project win rates. It can enhance margins, and it can also ensure that project value is being delivered as expected. So overall, AI is a trend that we think is disrupting construction across the board. The second set of technologies that we are excited about is IoT. Now, with IoT and digital, these technologies present terrific opportunities to optimize project delivery in two distinct parts. The first part is a 3D model. Now, digital twins provide the exact digital replica of a project's physical reality, including the dimensions and the locations of all project components, to compare the digital objects with physical objects as well. Progress tracking is also possible by rapidly advancing the accuracy of scan data, allowing for incorporation of as-built data into the 3D model for automated real-time progress updates, which is very useful. Augmented reality obviously enables users to virtually interact with the mixed reality of 3D design models and as-built configurations. And using all of this, we are able to get a single model of truth, a single source of truth. This is hardware and software designed with artificial intelligence for the collection of statistical production data that helps optimize construction and the operation of capital projects. The second impact is on data collection. Now, surveying is significantly easier because 2D and 3D mapping and photography of large areas is done via remote operation of drones. Also, inspection is more accurate because remote monitoring and the inspection of infrastructure operations is possible. For example, with pipeline leak identification, this can be done down to millimeter precision remotely and easily. So overall, IoT is the second pillar that is revolutionizing construction projects. The third pillar that we're excited about is a set of technologies around robotics and 3D printing, because this can really push the industry towards a mass production system. With robotics, a fully automated prefab process is possible, which basically turns a 2D drawing or a 3D model into a prefab building component. Robots can fabricate directly off of 3D models or shop drawings. And construction robotics is developing leading edge automation equipment for the construction industry, such as bricklaying robots or welding robots. Last but not the least, second last but not the least, self-driving heavy equipment is making construction safer, faster, and more affordable. And exoskeletons, which are also an extension of robotics, are making workers more productive. On 3D printing, we have seen metal 3D printing help reduce the key long lead times for specific items like joints. We are seeing that digitally enhanced geometries are enabling high-performing components and ultimately more efficient, cost-effective parts. Concrete 3D printing is something we are seeing as well that is helping build resistant structures and avoiding the waste of material. Now, these are all terrific developments that are really getting us excited about technology. But what does all this mean, right? What does all this mean to you? What are the specific steps that you can take to enable long-lasting transformation? Before we get into the specific steps, let's acknowledge that we are starting to see change, but there is a long way to go. There is a lot of room to grow. If you look at the chart that I'm projecting, the level of digitalization across industries, construction is at the bottom of the list, and we are ahead only of agriculture and hunting. In terms of R&D spend, we have seen that less than 1% of the revenue is being spent on R&D for construction. And in terms of IT spend, it's roughly 2%, right? Again, at the bottom of the list of industries. So we need to address these issues. And the way to address them is to take a 5-step approach. The first step is to create a strategy that hinges on the value at stake. It is extremely important to focus on the business outcome rather than to focus on technology first. I've seen this several times, and this is what creates what we call at McKinsey pilot purgatory, where if you focus on technology instead of focus on business value, then the results are only incremental and you struggle with enabling deployment at scale. So it is extremely important to focus on a strategy that hinges on broader value at stake and the business problem. The second step is to create an ecosystem. Now, this is an ecosystem of digital solutions that are going to enable the capture of this value. Note that there is no one company that is able to deliver this value across multiple facets of digital transformation. So building and curating an ecosystem is absolutely critical. The third is using analytics to identify the type of decisions that you want to make and prioritizing use cases. The fourth step is that now that you've prioritized these use cases, how do you identify the gaps in data and start to fill those gaps in data using Internet of Things as a technology suite? And last but not the least, it is critically important to upskill your people, invest in new talent, and invest in digital assets and infrastructure to realize the value quickly. This is extremely important as a last step, but not necessarily in that order. People are what really builds your business. So investing in new talent, investing in building existing talent is extremely important. So that is the end of my presentation today. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for being such a great audience. You can reach me at the email address on this page, or feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I'm also happy to take questions. Thanks a lot.